Who should Manchester United sign this summer? Before this video starts, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss out on the upcoming series looking at players Manchester United should look to bring in this summer transfer window. In the next few episodes of this series, I will look at an individual player to bring in, analysing why he would suit United and how he would fit into the system. I will be releasing those videos throughout next week, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on them, and when they are released I will link them in the description below. So for this series I will assume there will be some sort of transfer window this summer, presumably after the current season is finished, probably around June or July. In this video I will look at the positions United need to improve upon, the sorts of players United need, the system they should look to play, and the players that should be sold in order to finance the summer spend. So before we look at the individual players, what will Manchester United look like come the end of the season? Well, United should be looking to build a squad for the Champions League next season, presumably. It doesn't currently look like Manchester City will be involved unless they manage to appeal and the ban is suspended, but even still let's assume United do get Champions League football, as they currently are 5th and do look like they should be able to finish in the top 5 come the end of the season. But even still, I think the transfers I am proposing will still be able to be pulled off, even with the uncertainty around the Champions League. Straight off the bat, United need to solve the Paul Pogba issue. Is he staying and signing a new contract, or is he being sold early in the window? There is no point keeping him at the club if he isn't signing a contract extension, as this will mean that next summer he'll only have 1 year left on his contract, which will dramatically reduce the transfer fee United can recoup by selling him, which will ultimately leave them with less money to reinvest in the squad. Personally, I do not think Pogba will sign a contract extension, so United should look to offload him for a fee in the region of £100 million, which I do think is attainable, particularly if Real Madrid's interest remains strong. Matic, whilst hitting a decent run of form since coming back into the side, has been underwhelming, looking slow and predictable over the past year or so, and with him turning 32 in August and his contract expiring at the end of the season, Solskjaer should take this chance to get him off the wage bill. Phil Jones, Marcos Rojo and Andreas Pereira should also be shifted out of the squad. United probably won't get a fee for them, but getting them out on loan would take their big wages off of the budget. Luke Shaw could bring in around 20 million, Lingard around 10 million, Chris Smalling could be sold for 15 million with his good season at Roma, increasing his value, and United could potentially bring in around £30 million for Dean Henderson, who is currently on loan at Sheffield United but is attracting interest from other English clubs. This means that United could raise around £175 million in player sales, which with a net budget of around £100 million, which is feasible, would give Solskjaer a total budget of around £275 million to spend. But what should United look to be doing in this transfer window? Well, it seems that Solskjaer will remain at the club for next season, so I will assume that for this series of videos. The key players in the side at the moment are BRUNO Fernandes and Marcus Rashford, excluding Paul Pogba. Some would argue that Anthony Martial as well, but I think that Fernandes and Rashford are a lot more consistent, hence why I would build a side to bring out the best in their strengths. Solskjaer likes to use a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 diamond, and these will be the two systems I would look to build a squad around. There would be no point in suggesting players to fit into a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3 if the manager isn't going to be using those systems. Therefore, I'm going to be imagining myself as a director of football, bringing in players for Solskjaer to use. So where do United need to improve? I think that even though Luke Shaw is a decent left back and is very good defensively, which is why he excels when playing as a left-sided centre-back in a back 5, I don't think he is good enough going forward, which does hinder United's offensive system. Brandon Williams isn't yet ready to be a starter, so I think that next season he would be the backup left back. United need a left back who is a very good dribbler and has great end product in the final third. This is because Wan-Bissaka on the other side lacks these attributes and should be played as a defensive minded fullback because of his world class one-on-one defending ability. This does mean that United needs some more attacking output from the left back to make up for this, which is why I would choose an individual who can fit this bill. With Bruno Fernandes playing ahead of a double pivot in midfield, which at the moment would consist of Fred and McTominay, I think there could be a significant improvement. If Matic were to be let go and Pogba sold, United would probably need to bring in at least 2 central midfielders just for depth, if nothing else. But still, United should be looking to improve upon Fred and McTominay if they want to push towards the title in the next few years, as when you look at Manchester City and Liverpool, not only do they have a strong starting 11, but also quality and depth, which United currently lack. Therefore, I will be suggesting a deep line playmaker who has the passing ability to solve United's issues with advancing the ball into the forward lines when playing against a deep defensive unit, whether this comes from a long pass or being able to play low incisive passes into players between the lines. As we can see from this image, if United had a central midfielder who could make the pass into Mata, then he would be able to receive the ball in behind the opposition's midfield. This would vastly improve United's offensive play, as while McTominay and Fred are very good industrious midfielders, they lack this sort of passing ability. Both central midfielders need to be good defensively, i.e. have good reading of the game, being good tacklers, and having good athleticism to assert a press from the centre of midfield. I will also suggest a more ball winner type of midfielder who can bring a world class defensive ability from the centre of midfield, which combined with a deep line playmaker would make United's midfield not only high quality but balanced as well. United need a right winger to play in the three behind the main striker, as Mata is too slow and not of the quality that United need. Daniel James, while showing quality in spurts, is nowhere near a first team regular for a title contender at the moment, and is more of an impact sub and being able to start maybe 15 to 20 games in a season. A wide midfielder who can stretch the pitch on the right and provide a dribbling threat is essential, with this being the weakest part of Wan-Bissaka's game. In this sense, a right winger in a 4-2-3-1 will be more of a winger type than Rashford on the left, who will look to move more into central zones. Good short passing and intricate ball control will allow the right winger to link well with players like Fernandes and Martial around the box, and will also give them versatility which is needed when Solskjaer moves to a 4-4-2 diamond shape. For this sort of system, it would be valuable if the right winger could also play in behind two centre forwards or in the front two himself. Even though Anthony Martial does look like he has a potential to be a top class striker, I do think that United should look to bring in a player who can lead the line in a 4-2-3-1 or play in a front two. This is because Martial does show inconsistency not just throughout a season but throughout matches. In some games, whilst having that bit of quality that can win a game, he can also go 60 or 70 minutes without being able to link the attack effectively and lacking the quality that the likes of Harry Kane or Olivier Giroud have outside of the box. So if United could find a striker to use as a focal point instead of Martial in some games, then I would look to bring him in to also add depth to that position. So the next 5 episodes of this series will look at the individual players I will bring in. The next episode should be linked in the description below soon. It will be the left back that I've chosen for Manchester United to bring in, so make sure you click that video after this and remember to subscribe to the channel and click the bell as well.